Yep, that's what we're doing today. The Dead Don't Die, directed by Jim Jarmusch. Now, this, the month of November, I thought I would dedicate to one of my favorite subgenres of movies, that being zombie movies. Now, people would be like, "What? Stupid fly." Now, people would be like, "Why didn't you do that during October? Spooky, scary, skeletons." I mean, sure, I could have done that during October if I wasn't completely. No, I'm kidding. October totally just passed me by. But also, I figured November is when we celebrate Thanksgiving, and I figured movies about beings that look like humans tearing into things without any thought or ration and stuffing themselves until they burst. Eh, fitting. So, the first movie that we're gonna look at this month is like I said, The Dead Don't Die, directed by Jim Jarmusch and starring Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tilda Swinton, Danny Glover, Selena Gomez, and some other people. Sorry, I don't actually have like a physical DVD case. I have it on home media, so I can't remember everyone in the movie. I'm pretty sure I'm probably actually I can't remember the name of the chick who plays one of the deputies, but anyways, now I'm a pretty big zombie guy. I think zombie movies are to me one of the best versions of horror. And I think in the year of our Lord 2020, talking about viruses that make you want to board up your house and never go outside is just mm, on the vein of society. I'm not excited for this video, by the way. Um, not excited at all because I didn't like this movie. I really didn't like this movie. Now, I liked other slow burn movies in the past, and one of my favorite movies of all time, 1978's Halloween by John Carpenter, could definitely be described as a slow burn. Nothing really happening until pretty much the last act, pretty much. Unlike other reviewers, I think the acting of someone like Donald Pleasance and some other story beats actually kind of hold things over until you get to that part, but each their own opinion. That being said, Dead Don't Die bored me to tears. I literally looked at the time at one point and I was like, I'm only 40 minutes in. I'm 40 minutes in this movie and not one zombie be on screen. And I love Bill Murray. And I think his inclusion in the Zombieland series was genius, and it shows like he could be good in a zombie movie. I think his comedy actually really lends. I mean, there's this one extra. I think it's a deleted scene that shows him at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse in Zombieland. It's the beginning of Zombieland chronologically, but it's on the extra on the second DVD. It shows him at the beginning, and it was really funny, and I think it's actually worth buying the DVD of Zombieland 2 just to see it, although it's probably on YouTube, because let's face it, no honor amongst thieves now is there. Um, but yeah, Bill Murray in this movie, I know he's old, but man, did this movie really drive that home, and I didn't think it was all that funny after a while. I get it, he's old, But in other things that he's been in, that he's old, he still has energy. Him, he just didn't seem like he gave a shit. And that's the thing, when Bill Murray doesn't give a shit, he's not going to turn in a good performance. I mean, I know it feels like sacrilege saying here and now, oh, Bill Murray can't give a bad performance because Ghostbusters. Alright, Ghostbusters was cool. Doesn't mean the man can't have a bad performance every once in a while. But yeah, I didn't think it was that funny. I didn't think Adam Driver, who is very physically imposing, by the way, can come off as like meek and kind of nerdy and awkward. Like, I mean, Adam Driver as a guy, from another straight guy, he's a smoke show, so I don't buy him as like this nerdy, awkward dude who can't even ask the other female deputy out on a date until the world's pretty much ending. Um, and Tilda Swinton being I mean, okay, funny-ish, but it's almost like what I hate about movies, especially zombie movies, is when you can walk in, basically call yourself a World Series, you know, baseball guy, where you can just basically, go in and call your shots, because her being an alien was almost. I didn't say specific. I wasn't thinking during the movie that she was specifically an alien, but I'm like, something's not right about her. And I felt like it would have been funny if someone else would have turned out to be the alien, and it would have been a nice red herring. But no, obvious joke is obvious, and it's not funny. It's not funny because it's obvious. Now, I've never seen another Jim Jarmusch movie. From my research, people seem to like his movies because of dry wit. Don't get me wrong, dry wit can be hilarious, but it's got to be done right. And I don't know if he just doesn't get zombie movies because. Okay, there's this one joke that they really run into the ground where they come across the first victims. Okay, that I can't say there's no zombie on screen until like towards the end. There is one zombie attack in like the beginning of the movie, and only 2 people die. And that's not how zombies work. Like that's the biggest thing about this movie. Zombies do not work that way. They don't. I'm sorry. In any incarnation, zombies don't just attack and then retreat and then attack again. The zombies are supposed to be like a tsunami or a locust swarm of horror movies. It is just supposed to be unrelenting. Either you die or you wipe every single one of them out. Because they're not going to quit. They're not going to stop. They're not going to give you a chance to breathe. And that's when they're at their scariest, is when you just see numbers of them and knowing that if you don't weather the storm, they're not going to show you any quarter and you will die if you do not weather the storm. Again, man, is that really on the pulse of right now with modern current events. But yeah, them attacking and then them just going away, like, no, they would just go on to our next living target. Like, anyways, back to this joke that they run on the ground. They're like, they were attacked by several vicious animals, and everyone who looks at the bodies, and they have like 3 or 4 people who look at the bodies, and they were attacked by several vicious all animals. And then I saw the listing, and I'm like, oh, Selena Gomez, my celebrity crush, is in this movie. Well, that's a little interesting. I mean, she's hot. I would give her that gladly. But man, talk about another wasted potential. Like, wouldn't it just been funny to actually have her do something? Like, how do you have a name like that attached to your movie and she does nothing? Steve Buscemi is the funniest goddamn character in this movie because he's a MAGA supporter. And sure, all those jokes have been done to death, but it's Steve Buscemi who can take a joke. Somehow, he's the only Sandler friend who can take a joke that's been done into the dirt and make it funny again. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. But yeah, no, my biggest problem is like zombies just don't work the way zombies do. Like, you know, it's kind of like when people are like, "Oh, what do you think of Twilight?" Nah, I mean, besides abusive relationships, vampires don't work that way, and werewolves don't work that way. It's the same here. Zombies just don't work that way. They never have, and it doesn't make sense to change up their mythology so much. Like, why couldn't like this movie didn't have to be a zombie movie for the story? The story would have been the same had it been human antagonists just going into a town and just randomly slaughtering people. And at the end, everyone dies, and then Tilda Swinton goes into her spaceship, and that's the ending. So the ending is very like even zombie movies where everyone dies, that you can do the ending better than that. You can make it seem more heroic. You can make it seem to matter, and that's the thing. Like nothing seems to matter in this movie, and everyone's like, oh, that's supposed to be the joke. That's what makes it funny. I'm like, it doesn't make it funny. It makes me not want to watch it, because what is the point? What are the stakes? Why should I be invested? Why? It makes no sense to be invested. So I'm not invested. I care less. And that's why my final rating for The Dead Don't Die, directed by Jim Jarmusch, is a 3 out of 10. There's some funny jokes. I thought Steve Buscemi's joke. Oh, but speaking of actors that I grew up watching, the fuck did they do with Danny Glover's character? I'm sorry, I thought I was gonna get through this video without swearing, but I just got remembered. I just got pissed off again by remembering that. Danny Glover, freaking Detective Murtaugh. You're gonna have him go up just because him and the guy he was in forgot to lock the back door and barricade it? Are you kidding me? The fuck kind of sense does that make? But yeah, that's my review of The Dead Don't Die. 3 out of 10. Um, so that's been my review of The Dead Don't Die. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna continue to do zombie movies this month, so please subscribe to see the next one. It's gonna be a bit of a mystery with a twistery. This has been the Not Combat Veteran, and I'll see you on shore.